Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Ammar, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Will Black, the founder and CEO of Sharing the Credit, a unique payments and merchant services company designed to redirect a portion of standard credit card processing fees to charitable causes. Will has pioneered a model where every transaction doesn't just serve a business, it also serves the community. Will, welcome to Founders Future.
Thanks for having me, Ammar. How are you, buddy?
I am doing fantastic and I am excited to dive in. I always like to start from the beginning. So take me on a little trip down memory lane to before you started sharing the credit. What were you doing at the time? And then what was really the motivation behind starting the company?
Starving to death and somehow was meeting the woman that was going to end up becoming my wife, and my father, who's a wealthy man in his own right. And he's, does she know about your crippling poverty? I had a merchant services firm, and I'm going to everything. Golly, the lunch bazaar you got to go to, right? You go to every networking event, everything that you can touch base on. And that's where I was before it. And ultimately, I don't decry it. I met somebody that would change my entire future at a Rotary event of all things. And so if you think nothing comes out of it, that is not the case. But I met somebody, and I was sitting there and I was having my lunch, and it was a group, and they had, this is hard for me to understate. They had destroyed their giving pool, man. And I don't destroyed it. I don't think if they had any donor base left, their entire former board for this nonprofit, it was a nonprofit, was apparently peopled from the local asylum, and they had destroyed the giving pool. And it's a very worthy cause. And he was looking for a way to fix that. And that's the story. But you want me to just go ahead and dive into that part? That
Yeah, dive into it. Go for
Yeah,
it.
okay. So we're halfway there, right? I've had a lot of people and say, "Oh, this is brilliant. This is good." No, I'm proof that God has a love for fools and the world. I am that fool. I'm at least one of them. And in the middle of him talking about what he did in his struggle to raise money for his nonprofit, I got a mental railroad spike to the brain. And I remember that moment. And because I was literally stunned in it. And I don't know if I remembered anything else he said, because I was vibrating with excitement, and I was waiting for him to be done. And I grabbed him and I said, "Listen, you got to let me buy you lunch or do something." And we were at a lunch meeting, right? He had just eaten. And he said, "We just ate lunch." I said, "Coffee, a bagel, I don't care, something." And we'd go get coffee. And I said to him, I said, "You have people that ultimately want to give to you because you've got a worthy cause."
Mhm.
But they had burnt their hands, right? That is the definition of being gun shy. I said, "But at the end of the day, every time when businesses take plastic and they have part of their fees come out at the end of the month, right? We all know that. Nobody thinks Visa, MasterCard is doing that for free. That's not a march of dimes." I said, a portion of that doesn't go to Visa or MasterCard or Discover, Amex. It goes back into the system, right? Normally to a bank.
Mm,
Why can't I give it to your nonprofit? Right.
mm.
And he goes, "How does that work?" And I said, "You need to be the bank." These were his, Ammar, these were his exact words to me. I can't forget these. If I get amnesia, I will remember these words. He said, "That sounds great. I think I lost about 3 IQ points trying to figure it out." And I said, "Buddy, that's okay." I said, "It's a referral fee. Banks don't do merchant accounts. They
Interesting.
refer them, and they're not going to hand them off without money with them. What's in it for me rules the day." I said, "But only banks get it because only banks know about it. What if I give it to your nonprofit?" And he started to get it. I said, "Let me demystify it. It's a referral fee.
Mm. Very interesting.
The
Okay.
bank is the referrer. Your charity could be the referrer."
Okay, so let me try to put this into my words so that I can try to get a grasp over this.
Go ahead.
Anytime I use my credit card or anybody listening to this uses their credit card, part of that, obviously, there's processing fees. Part
Mhm.
of those processing fees, I'm assuming the majority of them go to that credit card, like a Visa, MasterCard, Amex, etc. And then a portion of that goes to the bank as a referrer. Is that accurate?
Close. There's a slight misstep there. It's
Okay.
not if it's not if Ammar pulls out his debit card and credit card and it's not tied to his card. It's if you're like, Will, I'm starving. Let's go around the corner here and get a burrito. Let's go do whatever. And I said, okay. It's that business because a business has a merchant account. And so that merchant account is set up generally through the banking system. Now, that takes 10 seconds of unpacking, right? Most people are not that savvy. And so what they do is they when they're if you're going to start a business right now, even something out of your garage, right? Whatever you're going to do, you're going to bootstrap it. What do? You go online and you start looking things up. And about 45 minutes later, you need to eat a whole bottle of Tylenol to make that headache go away, right? Because it's not made to be easy. So
Yeah.
what do? You get in your car and you drive to your local bank and you
Interesting.
say, hey, I'm opening up Ammar's Fine Home Furnishings, right? I've got my checking account with you because you're the money store. Can you give me a merchant account? Banks don't do it. So they will refer you through a firm like mine to Visa MasterCard, but they're only going to do it if they get a percentage. So Visa MasterCard, here's the other part of the trick. When a human being is born, we cut the umbilical cord, right? But when a business is born, we attach the umbilical cord from them to Visa MasterCard, right? Visa MasterCard pays whoever does that attaching. And so that's me and my firm, but there's a hook in there, Ammar. There's a hook. It's now on me to pay whoever the referring party is. If that's a bank and it was a bank for years, I give it to the bank. But if it's a charity, I can give it to the charity.
Interesting.
Is that syncing up?
That is making a little bit more sense for
Hey,
sure.
I can make
So,
it. I can tell you one that's so sexy it'll knock your eyebrows off. My first customer was a car dealership introduced to me by that charity. They were doing $1 million a month in plastic. Nobody's buying cars on plastic.
yeah,
That's soda and popcorn at the movie theater, right? It's oil changes, a new bumper, extended warranty. You want to talk about extended warranty, Ammar? No, you'd rather eat a cheese grater, right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
we went in there because they love their charity. We had already done their numbers. I said, you're overpaying the system $30,000 a year in fees. And they're like, that's a car. That's a whole car. That's an employee. And I said, it's a car employee a year. We would save them the 30,000. They would switch over and they would donate just under $100,000 a year. Now they're doing 16 years later. They're still with us. They do 2 million, and they give a little over $160,000 a year to their charity year after year.
Powerful. So walk me through, what does the business model look like for sharing the credit? Who are your customers? I'm assuming it's the businesses that's considered your customers. And then how do you actually make money?
Yeah, so that's always the question, right? And it's we're a little bit like the old wonder of the world, the Colossus of roads, right? I've got my foot on each side of the river. We're almost like two companies under one umbrella. There's a nonprofit side and a for-profit side, but my real client is the nonprofit. I speak to almost 50 nonprofits a month, right? And I have a message for them. I say, Ammar, if you don't need at least $100,000 a year, you don't need me, right?
Mhm.
If you need 50,000, throw a golf tournament. If you want to be done with raising money year after year, then I'm your man. So our real work is for the nonprofits, and the nonprofit brings all their low hanging fruit, all the businesses that love them, know them, want to support them. They bring them right to my front door. And that, buddy, that is not a cold sale. That's a very warm sale.
Yeah.
So if you like dogs and have been giving out of your pocket off your bottom line to the no kill puppy shelter, right? And they say, Ammar, you can give to us without writing us a check. Let Visa, MasterCard, let automate your business's philanthropy. Let
Yeah.
your business just give to us. And they're like, I'm sorry, how does that work? Every time they take that pound of
Yeah.
flesh at you out of the end of the month, part could be going to save these dogs. And you're like, sign me up.
So yeah, the business's expenses don't increase. It's the same exact thing that they would be paying regardless. So then where does sharing the credit actually make money?
Sure. Not only does the business not pay more, they pay less. If I can't save them money, you want to give to the dog shelter, right? But again, with them, what's in it for me? That is, yeah, I have to save you money, and then you're willing to get off the fence and you make the switch. We make money because, again, we have to attach that umbilical cord from the business to the system.
Mm,
And the system pays whoever does that, and we get a percentage, right? So if realtors, you sell a house, you get a percentage, right? You get a
yep.
commission, but my commission never goes away. So if you're with me, that car dealership, they're paying their charity 16 years later. Their
Wow.
charity has never complained. They have never complained, but I'm getting paid also. And that's good. So my team's paid, everybody's done. And at a certain point, it just becomes gravy. And
Oh yeah.
we passed that a long time ago because the money, my clients don't go away.
That's enormous, enormous recurring revenue because it sounds like the only time the payments would stop from a particular business is if that business goes out of business.
You
Like,
were exactly right. You're the first person in 6 months to get that. Kudos on you. You win the secret prize.
what can I say? I'm just built different.
No,
No, but,
you are. We don't lose. I lost one client in 2021. They
mm,
were wooed away by their bank and they came back to me in 2022. And that's the point. We've lost less than one half of 1% of all clients we've ever signed for 16 years. And that's not per year, that's over 16 years because if you love your dog shelter, you don't want to hurt them and
yeah.
you don't want to go back to writing that money out of your own pocket. My car dealership they used to write 50, $80,000 a year to their charity. Now they're giving 160,000 and they've
Mm,
got lower rates.
yeah.
They're like, we're here with you to the end.
So
Pardon.
it sounds like to me, really the name of the game now is getting this in front of as many people as possible, generating as many leads, increasing marketing. So when it comes to that process, when it comes to acquiring more customers,
Mhm.
what are you currently doing from a marketing and lead generation perspective?
Sure. So we have, as anybody's going to have, we have a multi-tier front, right? Our biggest piece is our real blessing. We're not in a red ocean, which the merchant solution world is. We go after our nonprofits. We go after generally ones of a certain size, not huge, but we'll take just about anybody. And then they bring in their low-hanging fruit. So we do almost no advertising for actual in user business clients, but we do all of our time and lead generation for nonprofits. And so that requires a little bit of paid advertising, not much, more of larger social media touches and presences, a lot of automation on that end, constant collateral being put out on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all emotionally driven, right? Because we want people don't buy the drill, they buy the hole in the wall, right? And so our number one thing we're talking about to a charity is you're raising the money right now this year that you raised last year, and you're going to have to re-raise it next year, right? And
Mm,
how painful is that? So that is a short step to then get them on the phone with us. But once we have them in the fold, they actively go after their low hanging fruit, their donor base, to sit there and say, you can write us a check, but we'd like to introduce you have a business, you can automate that philanthropy. And the entrepreneurs get it.
yeah.
They're talking to Ammar. Ammar's, wait a minute, talk to me about automating my philanthropy,
Yeah,
right?
it's phenomenal. This is a crazy business model. And so I'm super curious. You mentioned you do a little bit of paid ads. You don't do a lot on that front.
Mhm.
Why is that?
we'd certainly burnt our hands in the past. A couple of years ago, we spent in excess of six figures,
Wow.
in a calendar year, got exactly zero clientele for it.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was wrongly based because they put all money and all time and all effort. And this was our own learning curve, right? We've done everything wrong you can imagine to get to what's right. But they really thought if we could shorten the gap and we could go right after the business, right after peace, but that puts us back in a red ocean, right? And there's a lot of sharks on that feeding frenzy. And that just makes it a big race at the bottom, and you're competing with other names that they know. If you don't know us, you don't know us. If you are
Yeah.
in the loop, and you're one of the people that we've given away millions of dollars. And if you're part of that and somebody that you know and love and trust, if Ammar is like, we we've gotten $100,000 and we didn't have to go re-raise that. We got it and it's just coming in now. If you're a fellow charity, you're going to listen to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I can see how referrals can be a big part of this. But I'm super curious with you say it's a red ocean, but is there anybody else that's doing this type of work where a portion of it goes to charitable causes, or is that just you guys?
No, that's the question, right? Every couple of years, somebody, one or two people pop up and they do some things. They just don't stay in the market long,
Yeah.
um, because they play with the numbers a lot. My industry is already plagued by people messing around with the numbers, right? Ammar will go in, he'll kick butt, he'll be making a couple of hundred, heading toward $300,000 a year, and then the group that he does all that work for and signs for changes his commission structure, and now you're making 48K, right?
Yeah.
They've kept all the clients, but now, and that happens on a daily basis. And so it's a problem. And the big thing is they often limit it to charities. They pick the charities, they limit the percentage.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's banana pants crazy. If you love helping the dog shelter, the next guy's going to love helping veterans, the next person's going to feeding the homeless. It's because it's whatever spark is in our heart, right? We knew somebody, we saw somebody. You could have had a friend that you lost to suicide. You're going to spend the rest of your life raising money to fight suicide. So it's got to be that level. And then they bring that passion to the table. When they do that, they will find other business owners and bring them into the game. For us, it's always been, and I'll tell you honestly, this is the open thing. It's hard to get that messaging right. But what
That's-
we had, if we go after merchant accounts, we're in with people that have huge advertising budgets, and
yeah.
they can spend it to lose it because they're going to give you an account that they're going to have you 2 years, 3 years. They're going to bleed you dry, and you're going to jump, and you're going to go someplace else.
Yeah.
Um, we're going
I
to keep you forever.
I need to get you I need to get you connected with somebody. So let me ask you one more question about the paid ads. And the reason that I'm harping on this, because I see this as a humongous opportunity. And
This is your show. You can ask me what color underwear
yeah,
I'm wearing. I'm not going to
yeah.
tell you, but
So let me ask you this. Let's
yeah.
say you're able to get paid ads to work, right? And considering the fact that your LTV, the lifetime value of your customer, is basically indefinite, how much would you be willing to spend to acquire one customer? What is that max number?
Um, so I know what my average what I'm going to make per business on average is, and I'd probably be willing to spend the first 2 years of income on them, and
And is
that
that
put
thousands of dollars? Is that hundreds of dollars? What are we talking about there?
it would be hundreds of dollars and very close into the $1,000 range.
Okay,
Uh,
if that's the case, if you were gonna tell me you're willing to spend $50, I'm like, okay, this probably isn't the route for you. But if you're willing to spend upwards of 1,000, yeah, you can crush it with ads if you do it properly. And I can talk to you a little
yeah,
bit about what that looks like. But with that being said, I'm curious what the sales process looks like. Are you the
I'm
one?
going to give you a slight prop here.
Go
You're
for it.
also, again, the first person in 6 months that have realized, wait a minute, your LTV extends stupidly long, right?
Yeah.
They're so used to it being 1 to 3 years or something like that. But again, first client 16 years ago, still here. What would I have paid to get that client? I have made that client paid for themselves the very first month we got them because it didn't cost us anything.
Yeah, fair.
That was a
Yeah.
word of mouth. I was at a daggum Rotary meeting and I solved the right guy's problem for him.
What we found is that when you couple a strategic paid ads campaign that's profitable on its own, so on its
Mhm.
own, it's profitable. When you couple that with an organic strategy, which it sounds like you're already implementing LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, you're posting all of these things. When you couple the two, then you hit, you ever seen the hockey stick graph exponential?
Yeah,
Yeah, then it's
yeah. When you go hockey stick, that's the whole
yeah,
thing, right?
100%. I'm curious though, what is your vision? Like where ideally, where do you want to be in 12 months?
So some things I can't say out loud because we have a number of things that are working here on a state level that if I said it would knock a couple of fillings loose. We have some really cool things happening. But I'll tell you right now, our hit new hockey sticks every 18 months to sometimes 2 years. We're on one right now because it's just when we collect a lot of data when we're bringing somebody in. That's something that has been lost to the world. They're so busy getting the client in, they're losing the real money, which is the information as to why Ammar came in. Why you, why now, why this, why everything. What you're paying, what do you love, what was the good,
Yep.
what was the bad, what did you hate about that, what did you love about it? And we've become very good at listening to that and tweaking to answer to that. Last month, every lead that came in, we didn't get a single no.
And I'm sorry to cut you. Are you the one that's running the sales calls, or do you have a team? What does that look like?
No, we've got a team. But when it comes to nonprofits and they get a certain number, then you get to be in the boss's chamber and then I'm talking to you
Yeah.
because I really want to. We're working with a group that works with wounded police and first responders, and
Mm,
there's a tragedy. These guys, a cop gets shot like in the head or loses his leg, they're often dropped by their entire force and their insurance.
yeah.
And it sounds mercenary, but if they didn't get dropped, all the other cops would lose their coverage. And we've got into a number of these groups,
Yeah.
places like that. And it's because we knew their pain point before we met them.
Mm,
And so we've done some real big jumps. That's really cool. But 12 months is harder to say. In 5 years, I want us to be doing an excess of 50 million a year.
let's go.
But 12 months is 12
Fair.
months feels like it's 3 minutes away because
Yeah.
we go in scrums and little sprints and constant little pieces for the next 2 to 6 weeks constantly. 12 months is actually harder to plot than the 5 year graph. The 5 year is a bit of a beast, but
Yeah.
we just got some really good numbers in there.
I love what you're doing. I love that it's going to a good cause. I love the vision that you have. I think it's extremely doable. What is the best way for people to reach out to you, to work with you, to become a part of this? Walk me through that.
Sure. That part is real simple. You can always reach directly out to me at will@sharingthecredit.com. You probably won't talk to me. I have three main assistants that jump in way before that, but I'm very much out there. Our main thing is, but anything at sharingthecredit.com, that's the website. My main thing and my main mission is when a charity is spending 90% of their time raising money, they're not doing their charitable work.
Yeah.
That's not that's what's keeping them from doing the charitable work. And if I can get them funding where they don't have to worry about that anymore, they're now spending basically 98% of their time on the actual mission,
Mm,
right? There's
yeah.
some real evil in the world. I don't want those guys limited because they're out throwing a banquet or a golf tournament.
Yeah.
Really. So if you're trying to keep somebody from starving to death, from taking their own life, from going down a path of addiction, whatever it may be, give me a call. Go to sharingthecredit.com. We'll walk you through this. Our contracts, we have paperwork, but all the onus is on us. It says you as a nonprofit, you have no responsibility. But if you do refer for any reason, we have no choice but to give you this money long term. And that's where we want to be. We want to fund you forever. And we hope to do.
Will, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Anytime. So that wraps up another insightful episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to go to sharingthecredit.com. This is revolutionary. Make sure that you reach out to Will at sharingthecredit.com. And if you are a business owner and you're really looking to scale your business and you really want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Until then, keep on climbing.